The town of Aurora, Illinois was a slumbering beast of antiquity, dotted with cornfields and fed by the sluggish Fox River. Against this pastoral backdrop, a massive junkyard stood as a monument to discarded histories. Among these forgotten relics of machinery, whispered tales of a clandestine laboratory were born, like ghostly sighs carried on the wind. Enter Elaine, our protagonist, a fervent journalist with a heart larger than the story she sought. She was of average height, her amber eyes holding a steady glow of inquisitiveness and stubborn will. Yet beneath this resolute facade lay a haunted past, a relentless paranoia that gnawed at her spirit, an unseen beast bound by chains of unresolved trauma. Elaine, the generous soul that she was, often found herself lost in the lives of Aurora's residents. Mrs. Greer, the elderly widow who owned the local bakery, held a special place in her heart. It was while delivering groceries to the frail lady that Elaine first heard the murmurs about the junkyard and its secrets. "You ever wonder, dear," Mrs. Greer asked, her rheumy eyes flitting towards the window where the distant junkyard sprawled, "what's really happening over at that monstrosity?" The seeds of intrigue were sown. Elaine pressed further, gently encouraging the reticent widow, her gaze following Mrs. Greer's to the jumbled silhouette of the junkyard against the setting sun. "Tell me, what have you heard?" "No more than hushed voices on a moonless night," Mrs. Greer confessed, her voice trembling like fallen leaves in an autumn breeze. "Hushed voices and cries, Elaine. Cries that aren't human." Chilled by Mrs. Greer's accounts, Elaine soon found herself navigating the maze of rumors and hushed voices, her resolve tightening. Yet the responses she received were shadowed, vague, their tellers' eyes filled with a frightful reverence for the rusted citadel that stood guard on the town's outskirts. Beneath the quaint town's facade, the hushed whispers began to knit a disturbing tapestry. Anomalies in the junkyard, disappearances of the town's fringe dwellers, and inexplicable phenomena started to compose a melody of dread. This symphony of half-truths and fear set the stage for the arrival of an old friend, a seasoned journalist named Howard. As Howard entered Aurora, his eyes carrying a familiar glint of adventure and camaraderie, Elaine felt a welcome relief. There was something comforting in sharing the weight of this unfolding narrative. Their shared histories, traced through ink-stained articles and adrenaline-fueled investigations, formed the foundations of their bond. With Howard by her side, Elaine felt prepared to challenge the looming silhouette of the Aurora junkyard and the dark secrets it was whispering into the wind. Aurora, bathed in the pallid light of dawn, lay a slumbering tableau beneath a sky heavy with foreboding. The air was gravid with the scent of impending rain and the unsaid words between two old friends, Elaine and Howard. Howard, with his weathered face and discerning eyes, was the seasoned rock upon which she often sought solace in stormy seas. He had a journalist's intuition, honed by years of chasing elusive truths and walking the precipice of danger. Yet it was his hearty laugh and the ease with which he spun his tales that had forged their bond under the unforgiving crucible of the industry. They reconvened in her modest home, a two-story dwelling that creaked with familiarity and old secrets. As they pored over the town's whispered tales, the rain began to patter on the windows like 1,000 tiny secrets clamoring to be heard. Howard's steady gaze scanned the hastily scribbled notes and newspaper clippings. The silence between them thickened, stretched, a palpable entity. "Elaine," he finally spoke, his voice carrying an undertone of worry. "You ever think your history might be clouding your perspective?" Her heart clenched. Her past, a tapestry woven with paranoia and dread, was a specter that constantly lingered in the periphery of her consciousness. Yet she knew it was this same specter that sharpened her intuition, her sensitivity to the whispers of shadows. "Perhaps," she replied, her amber eyes meeting Howard's, "but maybe that's exactly what we need." The days grew shorter, the nights longer. The junkyard became their second home. Amidst the mountains of rusting metal and abandoned relics, they began to unearth a narrative that weaved together the seemingly disconnected occurrences. Abandoned machinery that hummed with an eerie life at the stroke of midnight, whispered accounts of strange distortions in the air, and the chilling cries that echoed from the heart of the labyrinth after the sun sank beneath the horizon. As they navigated this spectral symphony, paranoia began to crawl back into her psyche, a creeping ivy winding its tendrils around her thoughts. It began to color her dreams with spectral horrors, turning her nights into a restless battle against unseen dread. Yet, with every encroaching shadow, Howard's steady presence provided an anchor, a beacon of normalcy in the chilling descent into the unknown. However, shadows began to gather around Howard as well. His easy smiles began to hold a tinge of sadness. His stories grew less frequent, replaced by an encroaching silence that draped over their conversations like a shroud. And yet the investigations continued, the stakes rising with each whispered revelation. As the moon clawed its way across the sky, blanketing Aurora in a silvered hush, the massive junkyard became a theater of whispered secrets. Shadows danced, mingling with the rust and rot, breeding an atmosphere pregnant with unspeakable dread. Elaine and Howard, two journalists united by friendship and mutual curiosity, descended further into this labyrinth of decay. Yet Howard had become distant, his familiar warmth replaced with an aloofness that was as cold as the iron structures around them. His laughter, once a comforting melody, was now a hollow echo in the frosty night air. One particular night, under the cold gaze of a gibbous moon, he took a separate path within the labyrinthine junkyard. "I think I've seen something. I'll catch up with you," he had murmured, his eyes reflecting the distant glimmer of a secret not shared. Alone, she ventured deeper, the silence whispering unsettling tales into her ears. What she discovered amidst the towering mounds of discarded metal was a chilling revelation. A hidden entrance, a concealed portal that seemed to pulsate with an unseen life, led to the heart of the suspected laboratory. Howard's absence grew ominous, his assurances feeling like the lull before an impending storm. A room filled with inconceivable technology and bizarre geometries unfolded before her, the very air humming with a dark, ethereal energy. And there, at the heart of it all, she found Howard. Yet the man she saw was not the companion she had trusted, but a puppet, tangled in the strings of the very conspiracy they had sought to expose. The betrayal stung sharper than the chill of the Aurora winter. His strained silence, the subtle changes, everything fell into a dreadful perspective. Yet there was no time to grieve the shattered trust, for what she witnessed next challenged the very fabric of her reality. Amidst the alien machinery, she discovered evidence of cosmic horrors, of a nature too abhorrent to be conceived by the human psyche. Indescribable creatures birthed from the churning chaos of dimensions far removed from their own, their grotesque forms barely contained within the metallic womb of the laboratory. As the realities of the horrific betrayal and the abominable truths revealed in the lab merged, her paranoia bloomed into a monstrous entity. The whispering shadows of her past danced a grotesque waltz with the horrors of her present, blurring the boundaries between her internal struggle and the external abomination she was facing. In the cold heart of the Aurora junkyard, beneath the indifferent stars, she faced a dual horror. One was a cosmic terror beyond comprehension, echoing from the abyss of the universe. The other was more intimate, a betrayal that ripped open old wounds, bleeding into the chilling narrative she was living. Under the indifferent gaze of the cosmos, Elaine found herself teetering on the edge of an abyss. The labyrinthine junkyard, a skeletal testament to discarded histories, cradled a monstrous secret in its iron-wrought heart, a portal to cosmic horror, a breach in the fabric of their reality. In the wake of Howard's betrayal, she faced the echoing dread alone. Her friend, her confidant, was now an unfamiliar silhouette against the backdrop of the grotesque laboratory, his visage tainted by the chilling hue of deception. The boundaries between her internal paranoia and the external monstrosities grew blurry, a distorted reflection in the murky waters of reality. Each step she took echoed into the unknown, resonating with her heartbeat that drummed a relentless rhythm of dread in her veins. Her exploration led her deeper into the bowels of the laboratory. There, she discovered the purpose of this monstrous construct, a conduit, a bridge between their reality and the abode of malevolent cosmic entities. A haunting revelation unfurled before her eyes, a scene too hideous for the human mind to comprehend. Her reality fractured further as she witnessed these entities, their forms defying earthly understanding, teeming within the cracks of the non-Euclidean geometries that compose the laboratory. Their shrieks, at once ethereal and bone-chilling, echoed from the abyss, a discordant symphony that tore at the seams of her sanity. The truth of it all bore down on her like a cosmic eclipse, casting her in the chilling shadow of a reality too monstrous to be conceived. She was a mere mortal caught in the crosshairs of an indifferent cosmic dread, her existence but a fragile note in the grand orchestra of the universe. Amidst this surreal tableau, Elaine's end arrived. It was not a glorious battle, nor a dramatic last stand. It was a silent surrender to the overwhelming power of the cosmic horrors. She succumbed, her body disintegrating into a million particles, her essence returning to the stars from whence it came. Yet, even in her end, there was an unfathomable beauty, and Elaine, the earnest journalist, the generous soul, was not forgotten. Her story lived on in the whispers of the wind, a chilling testament to the woman who dared to challenge the secrets of Aurora. In the heart of the sleeping town, within the rusted confines of the monstrous junkyard, the echoes of her existence resounded. A haunting melody woven from courage, betrayal, and cosmic horror played a lonely serenade to the indifferent stars, a poignant reminder of the insignificant speck of humanity caught in the grand theater of cosmic horror. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.